Hello, Gemini, and welcome to the story of I Am, or you might say the story of finding out who I am. From Planet Waves, my name is Eric Francis Compolino, and I'm here with an astrological report that will take you through the end of the year. The main focus of the current astrology is and is about to be even more so Mars retrograde in the sign Aries, and then I will conclude today with a discussion of Jupiter conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, and then I will pick up the thread in the 2021 annual editions of Planet Waves. For now, let's talk about you. The times we have been in, going back even quite a few years, have not been particularly stable times for Gemini, as shown by your chart. Everyone's going to have a different experience of the astrology, and so it won't be true for everyone. And other factors abound. However, your solar chart suggests that you might have the feeling of like walking on thin ice, or like there's not really very much solid that you can grab onto, and there's not very much that is solid about yourself that you can grab onto. And I want to just show you some factors in your solar chart that reflect this. So first of all, this is the Gemini solar chart. The thing that doesn't change is this outer wheel here, which talk about where the signs are in relationship to your sign. So the signs always come in the same order, but when you turn the chart here and you have Taurus rising, it's pretty much all new players in a whole new ball game, and so that's why each of the signs is such a distinct mandala. Get a little more light on the subject in my sophisticated light studio here with the white curtain. Okay, so a couple of factors have been making it, giving you the sensation of not having much to grab onto and not having much truth to grab onto, compounded by even other factors. So we'll talk about that. And if I'm barking up the wrong tree here, and you feel like you're absolutely standing on solid ground, and there's no questions and no mysteries, no uncertainties in your life, you write me a letter and complain. But who knows? Even this may be helpful. First of all, to have a mutable sign as your sign lends itself to that in the first place. Having all the angles covered, meaning by mutable signs, houses 1, 4, 7, and 10 in the solar chart, can create that feeling of like, where do I really stand with myself? Where do I really stand with things? Like what is true and what is not? Like in a horary chart with a mutable sign rising and then mutable, all the angles immutable, you're in a situation that's changing rapidly. Okay, so adding to this rapidly changing situation has been the presence of Neptune in the 10th house, which has been making it even more difficult for you to set coherent tangible goals, and then act upon them. So Neptune is essentially a fog machine, and the 10th house is every bit as influential to your sign as what's going on in the first house. The activities of all of the signs influence yours. That's the message of the solar chart, is that every sign contains all 12 signs, and the signs that are the most influential are the ones on your cross. And so Neptune on the mutable cross here, going back till God knows when, 2011, 2012, has been the source of a lot of mystery, and making it difficult to aspire to anything, because it's like the thing that you aspire to changes but by the time you even get halfway begun with the process of aspiring at all. So That's having its effect. Then, additionally, an interesting thing that pretty much ruled the sky for almost 20 years was incredible number of slow-moving minor planets in Sagittarius, and those are gone now. Those have all just moved on to Capricorn and points beyond. So I have very little to draw into your opposite sign, Sagittarius. Though there is Ixion is currently in the back of Sagittarius right now, and we're left with the galactic core and the great attractor. And so what that is telling me is that the all of those little potent, slow-moving, really spiritual motherfuckers created points of conflict and contention that was possible to grab onto and then do something constructive with. Now you might think, well, who wants conflict and contention? But players like to play, and you are one. And the seventh gives you a place to play. Crucial house of things of a playful nature, meaning relationships and environmental factors and many work partnership related things. Take all those planets out, and what you're left with is this vast cosmos, because the cosmos as we know it, like on our side of Perseus Pisces, this other universe located bazillion megaparsecs away from us, right? Kind of like twin universes. This is the first time I'm talking about this, but I think it's friggin' interesting. Our whole local universe, like 100,000 galaxies, and all of our galaxy exist in your seventh house. This is the really distinct thing about Gemini. Gemini is the planet of local things and the local pizzeria and the Annabelle's Boutique, where you like to buy your favorite pair of socks and you can walk there, and the stuff that's in your building and where your neighbors live, and you go visit your cousin across town and all. That's Gemini. That's the third house. But the other side of Gemini, because the signs work as sign pairs, is, that's Sagittarius. You're in a relationship to the whole universe, because the galactic center, the center of our galaxy, Milky Way galaxy, barred spiral, beautiful thing. I wish I could see it. And the great attractor, the central galaxy that of which ours is merely a small member, is in your opposite sign. And so this gets the distractions out of the way. Like, all that little shit moves on, and then the distractions are out of the way. Pluto was there for a while, kind of defining things for a while. All that's gone, and then suddenly it's like, what? But where am I? Basically. But where am I is very closely akin to who am I? So that's a factor also. And you do well just getting by, and part of describing that is there's been a centaur for years in your sign called Asbolus, and that's that's a tool that helps you survive. You want to do more than survive, though. I mean, clearly you want to do a lot more than survive. Okay, then comes modern times. In modern times, the place we go looking for ourselves is basically the internet. Nobody's much interested in those things anymore, which was like one of the important previous places to go looking for ourselves. Not that many people made it to Esalen or the Omega Institute for whatever that was worth. So books, especially for those of us who are like over 40 maybe, and there's a few young people, I know a couple of you are watching, who get the power of the introspective power of books, and working with books and living in books and respecting books. But Not so much these days. These days, the place we go searching is the internet, and that includes searching for ourselves and searching for our identity and searching for self-knowledge and searching for knowledge about the universe. But mostly in the Gemini chart, one of the distinctions of the Gemini solar chart, these things, I love these special distinctions of these solar charts. I've got to write a book on the solar chart. It's just so amazing. Is Aries in the 11th house. Now, Aries is the sign of where we seek ourselves, where you explore the I am quality of your existence, and the 11th is in the quasi-public world of your circle of friends. So the 11th house is not the public. The public is what you'd encounter at a football game, assuming the public is ever allowed to go to a football game again. The 11th is what you encounter when you go to a party and you know a bunch of people at the party, and then several other people at the party know a number of other people at the party. So you're in this world of a group. First of all, a group where you can count the number of people. That's an important part of the 11th. And then there's overlapping social circles, and so it's like your friends and your friends' friends. Not Facebook friends. A little bit. I mean, on my Facebook page, one of the funniest things about it is I actually know a lot of the people on my Facebook page. But most people, not so much. And so this is one of the things that makes Gemini so dependably socially gregarious. This is why I was once invited to the local Gemini birthday party. This was years ago. It was by far the most easygoing social environment I've ever been in my life. I mean, I know you like go have it once or twice, or maybe gone to a kind of a cocktail party or party, and it really seems like everyone's just standing there with a pencil up their ass, and they don't want to say anything about it, and they're about to fart, and then the pencil is like in their ass, and it's like really uncomfortable, and that's the look on people's faces. At the Gemini party, it was completely the opposite. It was 25 conversations going, everyone having a good time, super breezy. This is because Geminis are naturally inherently social beings and are good at finding themselves in social environments. The social environments have been transforming, however, into the internet for really the past 20 to 25 years. Really solid documentation that this has been happening in an overwhelming way for 25 years. That is a ridiculous amount of time, and if you're 50, that's half your life. So, therefore, much of the self-exploration has been going on in the internet. I think that Aries, the internet's got a very 11th-y, 12th-y house feeling, and I think that Aries is also one of the scenes of the crime. I've written many articles about this. We'll link the resource. And it's worth looking into this to understand the social impact of the internet. I mean, it should be a primary course of study in a kind of a combined sociology media studies program, when really very closely related, because these media evolutions all have sociological impact. All right, so you have Aries, the crime scene of the internet, the scene of the disembodiment, the scene of the identity chaos, the scene of I am who I say that I am on my little thingy, and that makes me who I am. Ooh, I have a LinkedIn, I'm super important, and I have more than 500 connections. All that horseshit of social status has all been thrust into the internet, and people have taken their search for themselves to the internet. And one of the other things that they have not generally acknowledged is the whole thing is a mirror. I forget where Narcissus is. I've got the Aries chart downstairs. Where's that? I'm not going to interrupt this workflow any more than I just did. But our friend Grandpa Marshall McLuhan is the father of media studies. Like, he invents the field of media studies. Turns out that McLuhan is a professor of Shakespeare, James Joyce, the classics, and Ezra Pound. He taught the old poets and writers that we think of as the classical canon in English. And so he gave an interpretation of the myth of Narcissus that I just love. And he said that, we know the story. Narcissus falls in love with his reflection in a pond. And there's all these hot babes, these nymphs around. He's not really interested in them. But he's in love with this reflection. And the myth is misinterpreted. Young students are always taught, and I'm sure university students are taught, that he falls in love with himself. But that's not true. He doesn't think it's him. He thinks it's someone else. And so the story of Narcissus takes on different meaning when you realize that he doesn't know he's falling in love with himself. He doesn't know that it's him. And so Marshall talks about this in all of our media, and says, look, you have to realize that you're essentially just projecting your psyche out into consciousness in the form of all of this media, but it's gone into warp speed transition with the internet because it is so involved. This little thing here is like, it's a spaceship, and you can chug and churn all over the universe and have virtual sex with people in the Antarctic lab. I don't know. I haven't heard much from Antarctic about COVID. I wonder if there's been any cases down there. So here's the deal. This is all taking place in your 11th house. And that's where Mars is retrograde. So I've been using the concept of soul retrieval to describe the process of Mars retrograde. For you, the soul retrieval is kind of like claiming yourself back from all of these projections where you have essentially embarked upon and placed yourself into digital reality. The hearkening back for just one moment to the challenge of instability that has been so persistent in the lives of Gemini. If you're looking to yourself in the form of the internet, or looking to the internet for some tangible grounding in reality, all you're going to get is mush. It's constantly changing. Nobody can leave anything in the same place for more than 5 minutes. These people who write code can't leave a fucking thing alone, and they really all need to take a damn vacation for like 5 years. And so your concept of yourself has been this even more so than it is, right? Because you're a Gemini. There's options. There's 2, 4, 6, or 8 of you. There is always a property of reflexiveness in your relationships. But if you're looking for yourself on the internet and you're not necessarily aware that that's what you're doing, then you're really going to feel like you're living on an earthquake zone on thin ice with a tsunami going on. Now comes Mars retrograde. The journey of Mars retrograde is a reclaiming. It is a, you can think of it as a massive shopping trip where you're going to go around every place and collect everything that you have invested outwardly and sought for yourself outwardly, and flip that whole thing inwardly, and figure out who you are on the inside as a kind of a journey of this Mars retrograde. That's going to include a couple of things. One is getting back into your body. For you, the getting back into your body is going to mean, in my opinion, a lot of in-person socialization. Whatever else may be going on with this COVID-19 thinking, whether you think it's hot, medium, or mild, it is being exploited by the engineers of society to, first of all, terrify people, to make people terrified of each other, and to shove all of reality onto the internet. If you were to take away the concept of a supposed pandemic and just look at the thing in terms of the direction of migration, the direction of migration is into the online world. We're being sucked there, pushed there, pulled there, forced there, beaten into going there, coerced into going there. Students are going to school now, and it turns out if they go to one party, they can be either permanently suspended or booted to the internet, quote unquote, online learning. So if you use your body and affiliate and associate with others, you can basically be forced out of your body and compelled to take up residence on the astral plane. The whole direction of society is moving toward the internet, and we're winding up with things like Harvard turning into Netflix. And people are rightly asking, well, what? Why? Netflix is only $10 a month. Why should I be paying $60,000 a year for Harvard when I can just watch movies of lectures? And that's a valid question. But I would say that for you, there is no question about your need to connect with people physically, socially. This is crucial. And to make your discoveries in person, you will have to do your own risk assessment and study up on the whole issue. If this makes you nervous, you may have already decided that no, it's actually not dangerous to eat pizza with 3 or 4 of your friends, and show them your beautiful smile. So now this 11th house trip, right? This let's say mass ascension to the internet. I mean, my old friend David Wilcock was right. There was going to be an ascension in 2012, and it was not to like 5D. It was to like 4.2D, which is like the digital astral plane known as the internet. This whole and then 2020, COVID, the great big sucking sound of souls being forced online, relates to another portion of your chart. And this other portion, I've got some lines drawn in here to make the connection a little more clear, and this chart will be below the video or next to something. This too is a reason. The activity of the 8th is yet another reason that you have felt like nothing is built on solid ground. So the 8th house is the house of our commitments and connections and relationship. And the in your version of the solar chart, the commitments and the connections are represented by Capricorn, and in some ways that's appropriate. To have connections with others described by the structure of our lives. And the structure means things that existed before you were born. It means traditions. It means things that are expected to have some lasting, durable value. I live across the street from a lot of Victorian era buildings. I'm sitting in one, but I always marvel at this old building called the Bank of New York. No, it's called the State of New York National Bank. I wonder what the hell that is. It's probably a former private bank, but this is in little old Kingston, this building is really built like a granite shithouse. It's 3-4 stories high, and this thing is carved up in the cornice, I guess it's called, above the boom, State of New York National Bank, as if it was going to last forever. That's the message that they're trying to send. And then it was a bank until like 8 years ago. Then it became a doll factory. Now it's a little boutique hotel. Capricorn is the State of New York National Bank. That's what it's supposed to be. Here's the problem. That shit doesn't always last. It doesn't always last for very long, and we are in a time of particularly accelerated change of those cultural and social institutions, which means that we are living in a constant earthquake, and that you have had very little to grab onto in terms of commitments, relationships, corporate affiliations. Another reason why it feels for Capricorn, for Gemini, that the ground is shaking, and this is due to what's going on in Capricorn. And there is a lot going on in Capricorn. Look at all these planets. It's Pholus and Quaoar, soon to be Ixion, then currently Pallas, a somewhat quick mover, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. The shit's been hitting the fan in Capricorn since January of 2008. Remember like all of that, the mortgage-backed securities, this whole fucking vapid thing that was done, where all these basically bad mortgages were sold, like to people who were like working at Wendy's, buying McMansions. Like, people that worked at McDonald's should have bought the McMansions. But so you had all these like basically people who had no collateral and no down payment. That's a form of collateral, right? You at least purchase part of the house, lying on their loan applications and getting these massive loans, and then they couldn't pay them. And so but before they couldn't pay them, all of those mortgages were rolled into securities, meaning that that big companies invested in them. In some places, had half of their investments in residential mortgage-backed securities. Okay. I mean, I nearly personally fainted the day that I heard that some companies, large banks, had half of their assets not in gold and silver, not in companies like Apple, but in residential mortgage-backed securities, and then the whole thing crumbled. That's going on in your house of contracts, where you need stability, you need the contract to be stable, and you need that firmness, and there has been none. You're still here, though. You're still surviving. You're doing your thing. You're probably having some fun, and now here's where it gets better. Well, let's talk about the relationship first, because the crumbling of society, all these structures, and the State of New York National Bank disappearing to somewhere I don't know where. I'm going to find out as soon as I click this video off. And then all of this kind of like constant identity shapeshifting on the internet astral, where everyone's going to find themselves, has left you. You should be grateful that you're a Gemini, because as a Gemini, if there's only one thing we can say about Gemini, besides the fact that you're good with words and you know what a joke is, probably you've made up a couple, is that you're adaptable, and that you can see both sides of the situation. Nothing's ever all good or all bad for you. You can always invest yourself multiply. You're always able to work the other side of the argument. You're always able to be friends with people that you don't agree with. You're always able to make the most of a situation that for most people would be seen as a bad situation. So you have great adaptability, and you have a human skill. A human skill. This human skill that you have is your single most important skill. And this is why I am urging you with every color in my rainbow to not allow your singularly most important skill to be taken away and divested of you and invested in this land of vapor that could disappear in a split second with one electromagnetic pulse, like detonate a nuke 6 miles up. Many people, nobody's going to get radiation poisoning, but it's going to send out a magnetic wave that essentially erases the internet. This is why I'm suggesting that you go out for pizza in person with your friends, that you take any advantage, that any chance you can to socialize in person, and you to do that. I realize I'm saying something that's going against the Tony Fauci and all of these criminals. Do your own research. You going out for dinner in, Schmagegi County, Ontario? Look up the daily quote unquote cases. Do know something. Use your mind. Find out what you need to do. Calculate your risk and take your risk. There's risk involved in everything, including walking down the street. I'm personally partial to walking close to buildings. I like to walk right along. That's not really very safe because things can fall out of people's fucking windows and hit you on the head, especially in a big city where there's 40 floors or 20 floors potentially opening windows. Everything is a risk. Getting in your car is a risk. Walking into a public bathroom is a risk. Everything is a risk, and we're being told now that they're after all these years of 10,000 years of civilization, there's only one risk. There's only one dangerous thing. Look, do your homework, calculate your risk, and then what I'm proposing is get with people. Get with people. You will have a tremendous advantage getting with people for many reasons. First of all, you're going to be brave among the brave getting with people. And second, there are very good reasons to meet people in person. In-person meetings are powerful. They are turning points, and they are gaining importance and traction as this various forms of insanity, including the insanity induced by the internet. And by the way, I am of the notion, as a devoted student of media theory, that this entire COVID phenomenon is a function of the digital world. The test is digital. The news is being related digitally. The disinformation is being reported digitally. The fear is being transmitted digitally. And were it not for digital, this would not be happening. We'd be having Woodstock. We'd be going to Woodstock. Before the age of digital, in the midst of a huge pandemic in the United States, all the kids went to Woodstock, and not a fucking thing happened. And people are saying, well, they're giving me all kinds of excuses, proving to me how little they have read, how little they know, how few scientists they have talked to, how little they understand. Well, this is much worse than that. Well, I could fill up a 45-minute video without referring to notes telling you how it's not. But what I am telling you is that, and I will add this, Barefoot in Babylon, that at the time of Woodstock, in a comparable pandemic, probably worse, because there's problems with this one, i.e. statistical and truthiness problems, it's political exploitation problems. 450,000 kids got together on a muddy field made of cow shit. The kids were splashing around in cow shit for 3 days because it rained and the field was a cow pasture for generations. And so why is it you could take 400,000 kids and put them in a cow pasture full of cow shit, and there's not one meek thought of anyone getting sick in the middle of a pandemic? Tell me how that's possible. Why was it safer to be in physical reality than it is now? I'll tell you why. There was no other option. You had to be in physical reality. You hung out naked with people when you were on a farmer's field in the rain, and you smoked dope and you dropped acid and you waited for Jimi Hendrix to come on Monday morning, and then you went home and everything was fine, and a couple of volunteers at the hog farm cleaned up the mess and collected 50,000 sleeping bags, and that was it. No one even remembers any problem. And so now the meaning of in person is concentrated. It is powerful. I went to one birthday party a month ago that changed my life. I didn't have to walk. I had to go like 2 buildings past the silly First National Bank of New York to my friend's patio, whatever, garden. Changed my life. The people I met changed my life and changed my career. In one 3-hour birthday party, we hung out till it rained on us and we went inside. In-person meetings are powerful. The other let's take this into the future now, and things get better. If you are able to be a physical person, if you are able to be a physical person, a physical man or woman or binary critter, your horizons are about to open radically. Your horizons are about to open infinitely, exponentially. Here's why that is. One of the great houses in astrology is the ninth. The ninth is the house of one's horizons. It's the house of the big world. The ninth is kind of like Sagittarius to your Gemini. If Gemini is the house of your sibs and the local joint and where you can walk, that's also included in the nature of the third house. That's the third house here, where you have Leo, where, by the way, you must be a big fish in a little pond. No question about it. You have the ability to be the most charming and funniest person in the room. So, therefore, be the funniest, most charming person in the room, and treat everybody in the supermarket like you've known them from the 4th grade. Maybe you do. Maybe you live in one of those places. There's not many left. Okay, so the ninth is the opposite of the third. The ninth is the big world. The ninth is the whole country. The ninth is not going on vacation to the Poconos. The ninth is going on vacation to Easter Island, or maybe California, as long as it's not Disney World. And this is the house that is about to completely be unbelievably lit up by Jupiter conjunct Saturn, and then 3 years of Saturn going across Aquarius, much of 1 year of Jupiter going across Sagittarius. This is saying expand your horizons. I suggest you do this. You may get the feeling like, oh my God, I've got to go back to school. I don't know about that. I don't think that formal educational degrees are so important or necessary now. This may include some, like maybe professional credentialing or specific training, but I suggest you do this through your social network, and that you continue to aspire to leadership in your social network, including ideal leadership in your social network, and that you do it through travel. And the other temptation, besides getting advanced degrees, and I do know several people who collect those and do nothing with them, that is that you not be tempted to conflate travel with the internet. Travel is not the internet. It's nice to be good at the internet. It's nice to have access to this vast library. I'm going to find the history of a freaking bank that nobody even remembers in 2 seconds. So that's cool. I admit that's cool. The internet's been very good to me. It's being good to me now. But nah, you got to get in person. Travel. Go places, drive places. If you don't want to get on an airplane, drive places. Take choo-choo trains places. This is a long-term thing over the next few years, because this thing of the internet and the engineers of the internet taking over and wanting to wrap their little shit around our wrists and read our minds by the internet, put chip implants that contain some fucking health information that are connected to your bank account, that if you don't get your injection, they turn your bank account off. No, don't go there. We're not going there. No. And if it's inevitable, we push it off, and we delay them, and we distract them, and we resist them, and we live tangibly in person in our human form. That is the message of Mars retrograde for you. Retrieve your human form from all the places you invested it, left it, lost track of it. Get your human form back. Claim back your full humanity. That is what I have to say to you on this fine day. Get to your rising sign if Gemini is already up to Gemini. That's amazing. If Gemini is not it, share this reading with people that you care about if you think they will value it in some way. If that involves sharing some other sign, if you have access to all 12. And I would suggest definitely listening to Aries, definitely listening to Capricorn, as well as your rising sign, because there's so much shit flying in Aries and Capricorn. Aquarius is going to be exciting too. Okay, so a pleasure doing this work for you. I absolutely love doing this. I really should do this every day. It's fun. And I learn something every time I do. You know where to find me if you'd like to write to me, editors@planetwaves.net. Just me and Spencer see that, only two of us. There's other private emails. You may have one. Reach me on Facebook, but reach me if you need to reach me. I remain a physical person who does physical things and likes to write in pencil, and who answers my own phone whenever I can. All right. Lots of love, and bye for now.